Ladies and gentlemen, we continue to find ourselves racing at a sort of breakneck pace towards the announcement, the release of the Oppo Find N5 slash OnePlus Open 2. We are at that point in the news cycle where it seems like every single day something happens with either the Find N5 or the OnePlus Open 2 that is worth talking about. I hope that you guys aren't getting sick of these almost rapid fire videos, but we have to do it again today because we have in this article a couple of pretty big important things to talk about. The first of which does indeed come from the Chinese social media website Weibo, where the senior vice president of Oppo has made this post. Now, this is being translated from Chinese to English, so the text here is probably a little bit strange, and it's not the most important part. The most important part is this video. We're going to come back and we're going to play it on my very own website, which that was not the way to do it. This will work better. So down here at the bottom of the screen, you have covered up by a sheet of paper the Oppo Find N5. Obviously, they don't want you to be able to just see the device, but they do want to talk about how thin it is. So this individual, their senior vice president, did ask for some ID cards, apparently from around the office. He says that he got 5 of them. This screen right here, I was literally using Google Lens with their translate feature. And if I point at the screen right now, it says, I have found 5 of these ID cards. And he puts them up against this device. And you can see that it is effectively the same thickness as the device. A couple of other things that I think are pretty interesting that are visible at this point. Let's jump back to my website and we'll show this photo, this image that they actually posted the other day, which was ostensibly of this same device. And it shows sort of a chamfered edge, and it shows this much like shinier, more like brushed metal look than what we are getting here in this. This looks much more similar to the current OnePlus Open or Find N5. It's possible that these are just sort of different colors. Maybe that chamfered edge is a little bit of an optical illusion. It's hard to exactly say. It certainly does look like a chamfered edge, and I don't really see a whole lot of that going on here. Just wanted to kind of throw that out. But yes, it is about as thick as 5 ID cards, and I would imagine that your driver's license is probably about the same thickness as that. You might be able to just take like 5 credit cards and get a close approximation. We're talking about millimeters, we're talking about like fractions of a millimeter, so it will be an approximation. But you know what I'm saying? That's pretty flippin' thin. He's not done there though, because he grabs 2 coins and sets them next to it, and it ends up being about the same thickness there as well. So it's about as thick as these 2 coins. This is honestly kind of funny because we went from looking at pencils and we were like, what's the standard size of a pencil? Is this a standard pencil size? Now we're looking at ID cards, and now we're looking at 2 different coins, which maybe you can recognize these coins from China, and maybe you can stack them up and do the exact same thing. And then he does the exact same thing with some post-it notes. You're getting the idea here. We don't need to talk about this a whole lot more deeply. It is an impressively thin device. And this does go back to what this exact same person said on their personal Weibo account just the other day, that this would be the world's thinnest folding flagship. Apparently, topping what has been done by the Honor Magic V3, which is something like 4.4 or 4.35 millimeters thick when it's open. Unbelievably thin. They're pushing towards even thinner than that. But there is a little bit more that we need to talk about today in this newest article, if I jump back into said article, because we have an actual alleged real-world photo. Now, I've Googled around, I've reverse image searched, and I cannot find the original source of this image. If you know the original source, drop a comment down below. I'll pin it or something like that. Maybe I'll edit it into the description. But what we're looking at here, a lot of the time when a phone is unannounced but it's being tested, they will put it in these cases that sort of disguise it. You can't tell what exactly you're looking at, and I believe that that is precisely what we have here. And this does, in my mind, look a lot like what I think the Oppo Find N5, OnePlus Open 2, it's the same device, what these 2 things are going to look like. One detail that might be easy to miss, look down here at this USB-C port. Obviously, it is sort of going into the case just a little bit, and that is probably meant to maybe just obscure the height, the general shape of the device. But what you can see is just how thin that device is relative to a USB-C cable. In fact, let's zoom in really far on that, and you can hopefully sort of see what I mean there. There's actually like a cutout in that area. That's also very, very strange, but that's just the case. Not that interesting, but look how thin that is relative to a USB cable, and that is where we are. These devices are approaching USB-C port levels of thickness. You've got your volume rocker up there, very high, just like before. Your power button up there, very high, just like before. Very large, sort of centered camera bump, covered up, obscured by this case, of course. But this does lead to some interesting questions, because we did get this render from SmartPre just a few days ago. And that camera bump, that power button volume rocker placement, the LED flash placement, all of this does not agree with this image. So we have to kind of do some discerning here. If this is real, then this is now false. If we look at the OnePlus 13, look at that camera module. If you center that thing a little bit, man, that really does look exactly like what we have here, doesn't it? Now, unfortunately, when that render was produced by SmartPre with Yogesh Brar and Chun VN, they also did talk about a lot of other specifications, right? They talked about 16 gigs of RAM, 8-inch inner display, 6.4-inch cover display, 5900 milliamp hour battery, 80-watt charging, 50-watt wireless charging. If the render's wrong, we do now have to sort of take these specifications and move them from probably right to maybe time to question them a little bit more now, because they're placed alongside a render that doesn't seem like it's accurate. The good news is we will not have very long to wait. This device is going to be unveiled in February. At time of recording, we are halfway through January, so we are just a couple of short weeks, presumably something like a couple of short weeks away from no longer having to speculate. As much fun as it is to speculate, sometimes it's even more fun to just have the answers. But at any rate, guys, I want to hear what you think about this, because we do have, some concrete stuff, I think, right now. We have a photo of the corner, or a video of the corner of the device being compared to various random household objects. And we also have this photo, what I believe is that device inside a disguising case, which will tell us a little bit as well. There's plenty to talk about, plenty of fun stuff to talk about, and I want to talk about it in those comments down below, guys. Be sure to check out ShaneCraig.tech, where I will continue posting things like this, sometimes before I make the video, oftentimes before I make the video, so you get scoops on this stuff. This news about this video and this stuff, this has not made the rounds yet. It will be. By the time you've seen this video, you'll be seeing posts about it all over the internet, but you would have seen it first on my website. So keep that in mind, guys. Subscribe for more content like this, and until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.